one of the world's fastest growing economies, vast investment opportunities in many sectors, a business-friendly government, a welcoming English-speaking population, a strategic location in the heart of ASEAN, a rich and diverse culture, an archipelago of over 7,107 islands, all with tourism appeal. Today's Philippines is all this and more.
Brash, energetic, aggravating, shallow. Journalism in the Philippines is rough, raw and competitive. But unlike news in much of this part of the world, it is at least free of censorship.
Grading citizens of the Philippines. This is Anonymous Philippines LK7. Corruption is today a worldwide phenomenon.
For a reporter, getting to film in a prison can be nigh on impossible. But good contacts and the clout of TV patrol is all it takes for Gus. But the Filipino media has not always had it this easy. By the time the dictator Ferdinand Marcos, along with his wife and sidekick Imelda, was overthrown a decade ago, Filipino journalists had been stifled by 14 years of martial law.
I became a journalist in the last years of Marcos. And during that time, it was a cat and mouse game. You know, when Marcos wasn't looking, we came out with stories that we thought were the real stories, violations of human rights, poverty, how the people were suffering under his rule. But when he was mad, we'd revert into movies or restaurants or flimsy, frivolous stuff, just to be able to continue writing.
The change is not easy. That you can't just lay down this manual for people to say, come on, be an honest reporter. Of course not. They're going to read it and toss it out of the window and say, get off your high horse. You're being paid well by your network, so you don't know our plight.
25 years on, and people power has taken on a bittersweet flavor for many Filipinos who feel not much has changed since they first reclaimed democracy.
Philippines remains a country where power lies in the hands of a few rich families who bask in privilege and luxury. Meanwhile, almost half the population lives on less than $2 a day.
To bring this whole video together, I want to discuss the theme of democracy and this belief of freedom in the Philippines. The Philippines' history in terms of a free press is a checkered past. In the beginning, the news was censored by the Americans. Later, under the Americans, the Philippines press was open and freewheeling before being reined in when martial law was imposed under President Ferdinand Marcos in 1972. After Marcos fled in 1986, the press threw off its shackles and returned to its aggressive reporting methods. While established under the ideals of a free press, the Filipino media has often suffered censorship and pressure from governments. Although many journalists from nearby nations might envy the freedom of the Philippines press, as recent as 2001, Filipino journalists were killed for their aggressive stances. As further testimony of the back-and-forth fight for a free press, President Arroyo has said that a free press is the right of its practitioners and critical to the operation of a democratic society. Later that same year, Arroyo instituted the media blackout on reporting the actions of rebel forces. Clearly, the battle for the truly free press continues in the Philippines. Although with dozens of publications, radio stations, broadcast entities, and their staffs in operation, the Philippines appear to have one of the better media climates in Southeast Asia.